Hey y'all, Tiffany Mensah here. So I wanted to hop on here really quick. May 7th is my father's birthday. It'll be 5 years this November that my dad passed away. And so I have, on this grief journey, been trying to find different ways to, not trying to find, whatever way comes organically of like how I'm led to acknowledge the day. And on my dad's birthday, one of the things that I made sure I got out the house, and I went to this cute bookstore, not bookstore, coffee spot, and I literally was just sitting there, kind of just taking in. It had, like, I absolutely love the spot. That's gonna be a whole video in itself. But as I was also sitting there, like thinking and reflecting, ideas came to my head about the journey of me and my dad's relationship. I was a daddy's girl. There were definitely opportunities, though, obviously, growing up in a home with domestic violence. And so there was two spectrums that came to mind as I was thinking through and even praying through my emotions and how I was feeling. And what came to me was 6 things that I did when I wasn't healed that was directly connected to my daddy-daughter journey. And the first one was I let anger consume me all across the board. One, I was angry at God. I felt like God approved of my father causing harm to my mom and our family, feeling the residual effects of that. I felt like I was terrified. I was angry in my emotions because of the fact that the folks that we dealt with on the road, as my mom fled for safety and was out for safety, treated me like trash. And I felt like the direct result was just anger, like rage boiling through my blood. And I felt like that God was like my earthly father. Like, he's a direct reflection. And then two, I projected my roots of bitterness almost onto every relationship. Like, I was always triggered and I did not know why. It was always triggering back to that place of it. And I wrote these things down. It was just projected in every type of way. There was just no accountability for me with my emotions, because everything went back to that place. Three, I tried to replace my daddy in real life, y'all. I literally claimed and identified and named another man my father and introduced him to spaces and places and emotionally was connected, and that opened me up to spiritual abuse and manipulation. And I feel like when you have daddy issues and it is so prevalent and so much, it opens you up to be really emotionally preyed upon. And it's not healthy, right? And that was, yeah. So number 4, it led into me measuring every man in the worst way. I felt like every man had to be that. And it didn't help, like, when I would get into failed relationships, I would then attribute that to somehow being connected to my dad, like the worst parts of my dad. I identified them with the worst parts of my dad, and I waited for them to be him. But also in the same sense, because I was a daddy's girl, I was also hoping for them to be like him in the best ways, but that wasn't always the case. I definitely would say the other element of me not being healed with this daddy-daughter component was I encouraged dishonor amongst my siblings. And while they would be, what do you mean by that? While they would be honoring my dad, while they would go and spend time, and when they would, I'm like, y'all, why don't, like, what? Like, so what is his birthday? Like, and so what is Father's Day? Like, I was encouraging dishonor. They all have their journeys. I had my journey. I didn't see that then, but that's one of the ways that I was like, it was get everybody on the bus with me, even though there's different experiences. And then number 6, I prided myself on being disrespectful to my dad and other men that reminded me of him. Yeah, I did. Like, and I prided myself on, because I saw harm caused by my mom, that it was like, oh, well, you did ain't gonna be me. Let's nuck if you buck. You read my book. You absolutely forgot Living in Shadows of Domestic Violence. You absolutely saw that was played out. And that to do a truth assessment of that, it was, I feel like that's growth. Because when do you look at yourself and the remnants of, yes, harm was caused, yes, I was exposed to harm, yes, these residuals impacted me, but here's the things that I became as a result of it. And so that's what I did. And so other men that reminded me of him, it was an automatic chest bump, chest match. You gonna catch this mouth, you gonna catch you know what I'm saying? Like, you remind me of, and that was incorrect. That's absolutely what landed me in the therapy chair, the couch. And I'm grateful for it, because it saved my life from just continuing to respond, and not just the flight and the freeze and the fawn, but fight. It caused me to have early blood pressure in the middle of my 20s, early 20s. And also, this is a bonus because it's not 6, but this is also a bonus, was the fact that my relationships, and as I started like, oh, you're like a man, like all men are like my dad, and it opened me up to choose other relationships that weren't healthy as well. And I I put everybody in the same category, basically. So those are the 6 things I did when I wasn't healed as a result of my daddy-daughter relationship. And the next video will be the 6 things I did when I healed. So tune into that one. And yeah, talk to y'all soon.